Abdul Karim did not commit the offense of sexual harassment as alleged by ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye. The findings were definitive and based on objective evaluation of the available information. The Army maintains that Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim is a disciplined, regimented, and firm officer who has upheld the values of the Nigerian Army throughout his service. Suffice to mention, ladies and gentlemen, that ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye had been recommended for discharge on medical grounds since 2022. But the Nigerian Army, being sympathetic to its own, thought it wise to give her the best medical treatment possible, stabilize her before discharging her into the wider society. Hence, while the Army was addressing the allegations of sexual harassment, further concerns about Ruth Ogunleye's conduct came to light. Her behavior, both online and offline, raised questions about her worsening mental health and emotional stability. Consequently, the Nigerian Army referred ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye for medical evaluation at the National Hospital in Abuja, following earlier assessments made by the Nigerian Army Medical Corps that suggested potential mental health concerns. This decision was taken to safeguard her well-being and to ensure that any action taken by the Nigerian Army was informed by a comprehensive understanding of her condition as advised by trained professionals. The medical evaluation confirmed that ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye was suffering from a condition that made her medically vulnerable. In light of this, the Nigerian Army, while fully capable of proceeding with disciplinary action for her acts of indiscipline and misconduct, opted to exercise compassion and leniency. Based on the medical report from the National Hospital and the advice of the Nigerian Army Medical Corps, the decision was made to shelve any disciplinary procedures that could have been brought against her. Instead, the Army prioritized her health, understanding that she was in no position to continue with military service. She was subsequently boarded and discharged from service. I will show you in the course of this briefing her discharge certificate. Further to this, ladies and gentlemen, though ex-Private Ruth did not serve up to pensionable years of service, which is 10 years, she has nonetheless been discharged from the Nigerian Army with 50% disability claim, meaning she will receive a 50% monthly pension for life. She has also been paid her terminal leave allowance and terminal parking allowance, as well as her contributions to Nigerian Army Welfare Insurance Scheme, also known as NAWIS, and Benevolent Fund, also known as BenFund. The payments were made on 14 August 2024 into her FCMB account. Her security department allowance for the period she served, which is 5 years, 54 days, has also been paid. The decision for her discharge, ladies and gentlemen, was reached following her rejection of offer of medical treatment either from the National Hospital and the Nigerian Army. Despite this, ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye has continued to propagate false narratives against Colonel Abdul Karim and other senior officers, using online platforms to engage in cyberbullying and defamation. This sustained campaign has become egregious misuse of her condition to garner attention, gain traffic on her social media handles, and disparage the reputation of the senior officers and the Nigerian Army in general. It is important to state unequivocally that the Nigerian Army will not tolerate the defamation of its officers, particularly when it is based on falsehood and driven by ulterior motives. While we remain empathetic,
I believe that all of you watching this can easily deduce the cover-up, the lies, and all the nonsense from the nonsense this guy was spewing. Or you believe him. The lady said they stopped paying her from 2022. Suddenly, they actually offered, they said they offered her medical treatment in the National Hospital Abuja. Then they discharged her enough that they suddenly paid her a pension in August 2024. Not after, this is like not after she's kind of began to expose them on social media. They became worried about their reputation, that they decided to go and cook the book and show that, they were offering her help. He has these health problems, and they were trying to help her. She doesn't have the mental capacity to continue as a soldier. And the blah, the blah, the blah, the blah. I don't know if there's anybody here that believes any jargons that guy said. There is more to come up. And they went on to say, to protect their own, they are more interested in the supposed image, character of these rapists in the Nigerian army, that they felt like are going on social media, because the girl actually detailed everything with evidence. You get that? And she's asking the army to present the evidence of their investigation. So you get, like, don't just talk. You need to present. If you actually did any investigation, present them to the public. But they have nothing to present because there was no investigation done. The effort is to see to a cover-up. Now they started threatening her. In that same statement, he started threatening her that if she continues to talk about this issue in public, they will not tolerate that unequivocally. There is more. Let's listen to it.
The army has done everything within its power to address her concerns through the appropriate channels, and investigative findings have cleared Colonel Abdul Karim of any wrongdoing. We caution the public to treat her allegations as baseless and without merit, given her established condition. The Nigerian Army stands firm in its commitment to maintaining discipline and order within its rank. Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim is a dedicated officer who has served our nation with honor and distinction. While we remain committed to providing care and support to former personnel like ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye, we will not allow our personnel to be maligned or subjected to unwarranted attacks. It must be emphasized that the Nigerian Army, as a professional national institution, has exhaustively exercised institutional restraints and decorum over this matter in order to allow for thorough, transparent, and impartial investigation, as well as medical evaluation to unravel the allegations. The Nigerian Army, therefore, wishes to state that it operates with high standards of professionalism and takes the welfare of its personnel very seriously, as well as handle all allegations with the seriousness they deserve. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. Ruth Ogunleye was brought to Abuja here, where she had an interaction with the investigators. And when she was taken to National Hospital, I actually went there with the Minister of Women Affairs, and I saw her. The Army, being empathetic to its own, decided to say, okay, let us administer treatment. Let us give treatments to this lady, rather than just throw her out or ease her out. And that was exactly why she remained in the system, and attempts were being made to ensure that she was restored to normalcy and continue in service. Ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye was not dismissed. She was discharged. Okay, so you need to get that right. Now, the fact that she had a mental issue, medical issue, so to speak, made it look like, okay, we don't want to throw this person out. So we need to do what? To intervene by doing what? Getting her treated. In the course of this treatment, we had to send her for medical evaluation. In the course of the medical evaluation, the investigation was equally going on. This made it to take some few months before we came up with this response. We couldn't have just, considering her status, we couldn't, like I told you, I went to the National Hospital. I was there with the minister when she visited, the Minister of Women Affairs when she visited, and I even interacted with her. Okay? So we had to take time. If you want to be thorough about investigations, grievous allegations have been made about sexual harassment, about intimidation, about being locked up, about being abused, about threat to life, and you think it should take just 2 months or 3 months? Parties have to be involved. Parties have to be invested, have to be questioned. All the parties involved have to be invited. They have to be scrutinized. Okay? So investigation is not what you do haphazardly and throw out reports. No. I think we have been very, like I said, we have exercised very serious institutional restraints and decorum in handling this matter. That is why the Army only responded by telling the public at the initial stage that we are going to look into these grievous allegations and, of course, do what? Investigate. Today we have arrived at that juncture and we are bringing it back to the public. I think you should commend the Nigerian Army for this, please. Ruth Ogunleye has a serious issue here, a medical issue here. And we feel that as she being one of our own, we cannot just throw her out into the larger society. What do we have to do? We have to intervene. That was why we actually sent her for medical evaluation to an independent body, not in the Nigerian Army any longer. And that evaluation came up with a report. The military police report, investigation report also came up. That is why we are at this juncture today, to let Nigerians know the truth, the facts about this matter. Recall in the course of this press briefing, I mentioned that we considered her health situation. There is what we call medical in confidence. I don't know if there's anybody from medical here. There's what we call medical in confidence. We have exercised very serious restraint and decorum by not throwing the document out to the public. However, the National Hospital is a very well-known establishment to all of you. And if you want to conduct further investigation, please, you are free, you are at liberty to visit the National Hospital. We have conducted our investigations and we have brought the findings of our investigation before this press briefing this morning. Established code of conduct, we have rules and regulations that guide personnel of the Nigerian Army. Once you commence your training at the Depot Nigerian Army as a soldier or at the Nigerian Defense Academy as an officer, you are exposed to those regulations and you begin to imbibe them right from the onset of your training. So there is no soldier, there is no officer that does not understand the implications of sexual harassment or intimidation in the service.
Penalty for any sexual harassment or sexual abuse is as clearly written in the Armed Forces Act, which is a public document. You can read more at it.
Ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye was never abandoned. If you listen to what I said, you will find out that we had intervened, ensuring that, okay, medically we tried to administer treatments, to give her treatments, we let her access treatments and all that. She had misinterpreted all that. Okay? And in the course of coming to the service, yes, she was okay, but while in the service, she became ill. We have had medical evacuations. Severally, many personnel have been flown overseas for treatment, even within this country. I recall that's ex-soldier, the late soldier, that was flown from Kaduna, brought to Abuja here. When I got to know about it, Over 17 million was paid for his treatment. So the Nigerian army, particularly the current leadership, had been very, very serious in intervening in the welfare of personnel, particularly when it concerns issues of medical conditions.
ẹni òfò ni ẹ ṣòfò láyé ẹ tún sí lálìkìyàmà ẹ̀yin rádaràda wọ̀nyí. ẹni òfò ni ẹ ṣòfò láyé ẹ tún sí lálìkìyàmà ẹ̀yin rádaràda wọ̀nyí.
He kept murmuring on mental health this, mental health that. The army cannot abandon his own. The army didn't just want to throw out there. The army, it didn't mention anything. I didn't like the investigation they did. What was it about? To go and check if she has mental health problem or not? Let's even assume she has it. Does that now cancel the sexual assault, the sexual harassment that she suffered? Have you seen people who actually have mental breakdown because they are sexually abused, sexually harassed, raped? Or do you not know that people can have mental breakdown if they are sexually abused? So what investigation is he talking about? The investigation of if she has mental problem or she has any health issue? What led to that? Why is he so adamant in exonerating the rapists, the sexual assaulters in the army, the colonel, and all of that? Why? What investigation is he talking about? Like which investigation is he talking about? Investigation about Ruth, not investigation about these military officers. But you can see through that. Ladies and gentlemen, the lady that they wanted to believe has mental issue was on the AIT yesterday. Or was it yesterday or 2 nights ago? It doesn't really matter. But less than 48 hours ago, she was on AIT program where she kind of shed more light. This is not like the video she made and we all saw earlier. This time around, you be the judge. Here.
Yesterday, the Nigerian army had come out to say that the senior officers that were involved in this case are innocent and that you are suffering from mental issues or you're mentally unstable. But what is your own side of the story?
Thank you very much for this great privilege, this great opportunity. What really happened yesterday was just a cook-up story, just a planned work. Myself and Abu Karim, we are in this, Abu Karim, we are in the same unit. He was my CO.
What unit is this?
NACMC Ojo, okay. Nigerian Army Cantonment Medical Center Ojo, where he was my CO. Colonel Abu Karim asked me to sleep with him at Igosto Hotel at about 700 hours p.m. He asked me to sleep with him, which I refused.
What day was this?
On Sunday. On 27th February 2022. So he called me to sleep with him, which I was very, very surprised. And army is against it. In the army, it's called frontalization. It's a big offense in the army, which I refused to sleep with him because he's my superior. Ever since then, Colonel Abu Karim will inject me with Lactate injection, put me inside casket, popularly called body bag in the army. He will harass me, rape me, and at the end of the day, he will throw me inside psychiatric hospital to make it look as if what he is saying is true.
So, hold on. Where does this rape happen? And putting you in a body bag, when did all of this happen? And give me more details about it.
This whole thing happened in our unit, Cantonment Medical Center, Ojo there. I have witnessed.
Was this in his office? Or
inside his office. Inside the office, with uniform. Most times he will instruct soldiers to pin me down while they give me Lactate injection. Most times he will point gun at me. Most times he will handcuff me and harass me sexually and still take a picture of me and send to some senior officer to make it look as if I am actually mad. Which I tried my best to seek for redress. Sorry, I sought for redress. I went to legal service. I went to military police to report him.
Was this after the first time, or it had happened several times?
Several times. He come to my house, sent soldiers to my house to harass me. Most times he will inject me inside his office, rape me. After raping me, he will still take video of me and send it to General I.B. Shelebo to make it look as if, because as at that time I was already complaining, seeking for intervention, begging some senior officers, people like General C.G. Musa, the current chief of defense staff. I told so many officers, I seek for redress, but nothing was done because he's my senior. Nobody was ready to give me a listening ear. So I exhausted all the procedures. I sought for redress using Section 179 of the Armed Forces, and nothing was done. Nobody believed me. After injecting me, he would strip me naked and throw me inside psychiatric hospital. And there, General I.B. Shelebo, Colonel Ogo will come there, they will be snapping me. They took picture of me, harassed me. Most times he denied me access to military course just because I refused to sleep with him. He denied me pass. I could not even see my family for years. He denied me pass. He denied me so many things in the army, that my welfare in the army. So after exhausting, going to legal service to complain, and nothing was done, going to military police to report, nothing was done because he's my superior. I'm his subordinate. I wrote a redress, and nothing was done. So I went to social media to complain on the 9th of January 2024, and the Minister of Women Affairs intervened, and the Nigerian Army promised Nigerians that they are going to carry they are going to carry out an investigation, which they did. So during the investigation, they took me to National Hospital. They took me to LDLA. They took me to LDLA just to check to know if I abused substance, and they took me to National Hospital for medical evaluation, and the result turned out to be negative. And the Minister of Women Affairs requested me to write a voluntary letter, which I did. I submitted my voluntary letter to the Minister of Women Affairs, and she forwarded it to the Chief of Army Staff, and the Chief of Army Staff approved it.
So what you're telling me now is that the army did not on its own discharge you?
No. I wrote a discharge that I lost interest because of the inhuman treatment they did to me.
The army also accused you of being mentally unstable. Are you mentally unstable?
No. I'm perfectly okay. It was just a cook-up story. Because during the course of that investigation, the Nigerian Army took me to National Hospital for medical evaluation, which turned out to be negative. That everything concerning is just an allegation against me.
Did you see the result that was sent to the Chief of Army Staff?
Yes. As a patient, I have every right to ask my doctor and they told me that they could not diagnose me. Okay. They couldn't diagnose me.
Okay.
So thereafter, the army called me that they've approved my discharge. Unknown to me that I wasn't aware. It was a cook-up story. Like the Chief of Army Staff called me on his own, and he told me that I should not worry, that I should just cooperate with them, that they are going to sort me and they are going to pay me off. So in the army, I served 5 years with the army. I only served 5 years, and I'm not eligible for pension because they boarded me out. That is where I was qualified for pension. And before one can be boarded out of the army, there are procedures. They will call you for interview. They will call a psychiatrist to check your mental state. There will be units RSM. There will be people will be there. There will be a board set up because of as a BOI set up because of that shoulder to know if the shoulder is still fit to continue with the job. In my own case, nothing like that. So they did that to compensate me because of what Abdul Karim did to me.
So before you go forward, why did you on your own decide to leave the army?
I know my life was at risk, and the job, I lost interest in the job because there is a lot of malice in the job. your juniors, younger ones they don't give their younger ones to speak. You don't have every right to speak. Even when your junior is misbehaving your senior is misbehaving to you, they don't listen to their subordinates. So what they listen to me at that time, they will find that meanwhile during their investigation, they saw everything. I submitted my evidence to them, and my eyewitness were there, and they know that what Abdulkarim did to me is very, very wrong. So I'm very, very surprised that they still come online and cook up a story just to make me look as if I'm a man, that is just to tell the whole wide world that I'm a mad person. I'm not a mad person. The investigation, the medical report that was during the medical evaluation that was carried out in National Hospital turned out negative. They could not diagnose me.
Okay, so you said you decided on your own to leave the army
Yes.
because of the inhumane treatment.
Yes.
Yesterday.
I have a question. At least this public square now, okay? So those of you who are part of this broadcast and watching this from wherever you are watching from,